5 years at Harrison College, living on tips and whatever my Aunt Anita could save up. 5 years to get a piece of paper that says I'm an engineer. Also, I can clean this man's house.
A black cleaning lady gets caught up in the throes of South American Revolution in Sunset, the controversial final release from Tell of Tales. That's coming up next on JO42 Reviews. Let's not mince words here, folks. Sunset sucks. A quick alliteration that is not levied lightly. I had hesitated to review this title because of the already huge mountains of negative press surrounding it, and because everybody already knows my opinion of Dyke Mansion 3D. But I felt like looking at this game would give us an important opportunity to explore the boundary points between gaming, art, and propaganda. Let's do this. The story simply tells of a college grad named Angela Burns who is forced to take a job as a cleaning lady because recent political upheavals have left her stranded in the fictional country of Manchuria. Her sole charge is the care and maintenance of a luxury apartment owned by a wealthy businessman and art collector named Gabriel Ortega. The story unfolds not in the actual on-screen action, but rather in the unseen activity that Angela narrates, telling of the various acts of war and espionage going on in the city around the apartment. This is not in and of itself a bad premise. I would recommend the excellent Spanish film Madrid 1987 for a similar idea. The issues that contribute to Sunset's failure are central to the concept of gaming, interactivity, and escapism. And in the case of Sunset, these are not just two elements that are absent so much as two elements that feel like they were consciously withheld. When the same hipster Puritans that championed this lump of coal were decrying BioShock Infinite, one criticism I heard over and over again of that game was that it presented a beautiful world that the player could not interact with in any meaningful way, and were instead only able to loot and shoot. Well, the last time I checked, killing people and stealing from them were pretty meaningful. But the same criticism could be leveled exponentially to Sunset. You have a set number of chores that you have to do every day, and you don't even get to do them. Click on the mop, and the floors are shined. I found myself thinking of the episode of Family Guy where Peter, at war with an Amish man, comes home to find his yard mowed and his house in order, at which point the Amish man jumps out and says, "Ha ha, I have done your chores to rob you of the joy of doing chores." And if that weren't enough, you aren't even required to do the chores. Let me repeat that. You aren't even required to do the chores. Just get back on the elevator and start the next day. Or you don't even have to get on the elevator, just press escape. But those are the only aspects of the game that seem to be streamlined for convenience. The whole control scheme seems designed to limit your ability to have anything resembling fun. You walk along at a snail's pace as if the game were trying to make damn sure you know full well what a drudgery this time in Angela's life really is. But even more draining is the manner in which the game seems bold and determined to keep you locked in a certain mode of behavior. The game allows absolutely zero deviation from the dull droning through the apartment. I wasn't allowed to fall from the stairs even if I tried. I wasn't allowed to pick up items and rearrange them. Most galling of all, there's a shallow indoor pool immediately inside the door that I wasn't allowed to walk through. This might seem like a minor irritant, but it's the first thing the player encounters when entering the apartment, meaning that immediately the player runs into an invisible wall, one of those annoyances in games that take us out of the action and remind us that rather than walking around in the limitless vistas of the imagination, we are locked into the limited realms of digitization. Good game developers know that one of the first things the player must experience is a moment of pure interactivity, to run and jump for a moment to gain a feeling for the character in the game world. That's why Super Mario Bros. Begins with a long open stretch of screen before reaching the first set of enemies and obstacles. Add to that, different parts of the apartment are sealed off from day to day, so any amount of exploration you might have done is extremely limited. And then there's the apartment itself. It's beautiful to look at, even if its beauty is marred by the ongoing aggravation of its layout. Based on the layout of an ideal bachelor pad design from a 1970 issue of Playboy, the apartment does, in unguarded moments, resemble the sort of swinging pad one might find in the retro-modern paintings of Josh Agel. But this only adds insult to injury. An apartment like this should be Easter egg heaven. That would have truly been engaging. Imagine a game where you are intercepted by rebel forces who send you on covert missions to find hidden items within the apartment, disable various security devices, and return them later without being detected. That would have been fun. That would have been an actual game. But instead we're left with this dull grind and virtually nothing to do in the apartment. By contrast, consider the pornographic CD-ROM Virtual Valerie or the Residence Freak Show, both games with a similarly limited number of locations but still treasure troves of hidden content. Instead, the limited interactivity and eternally blocked-off navigations give you the feeling of being dressed up in uncomfortable Sunday school clothes and marched through a fine china shop under the withering gaze of a parent who cautions you to look but don't touch and keep your hands in your pocket. And that's the core problem with Sunset, one that's reinforced by the game's preachy social justice message. It's a sermon. The main thing you get with Sunset is an opportunity to listen to Angela complain, and boy does she ever complain.
It keeps me up at night, wondering if this is some kind of destiny. I moved halfway around the world to end up as a housekeeper? I could have done that back home. Most people in Baltimore can't imagine a black woman as anything else. I left the U.S. to get away from that jaundiced perspective, from stupidity and hate. And here I am, trapped in a country going to shit, cleaning this man's house. Ortega has more books than furniture. Like he's building up bunker walls made of precious words. You can feel the depression in this place. How am I supposed to scrub that out? Senor Ortega might be wealthy, but there's not much left to spend his money on.
Just as I am continually amazed that there are large numbers of people that want to congregate every Sunday and listen to crazed evangelical preachers tell them how they're hell-bound pieces of garbage, I'm equally amazed that there is a smaller but far more influential group of social justice warriors that actually relish sitting around and checking their privilege. And at the end of the day, this is Sunset's actual purpose. It's to fly in the face of everything that makes people want to play games. Most people will never make enough money to live in an apartment like that of Mr. Ortega, but they can escape into the temporary release of the virtual world, whether that's in a video game or in movies like Breakfast at Tiffany's or the Thomas Crown Affair. At its core, Sunset is a hateful, bitter lecture on the evils of the common man and woman's desire to enjoy the finer things in life. Look at this delicious feast, but don't dare lick your lips. That's why Sunset failed and why it deserved to fail. It's unsurprising that the social justice cretins who tried to get people excited about this non-game sounded like parents trying to get a kid excited about doing something boring and pretending it's the most interesting thing in the world.
Hi, Charlie.
Hello, Danielle. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I want to show you this game called Sunset from Tale of Tales.
I have been so excited for this game since I heard about it. I've been on like media lockdown about this one because I just want to experience it for the first time. So like, don't spoil it for me, Danielle.
Okay, I won't.
Play it together.
And we're thinking of sending him to the Lodi Learning Center. Did he want to go? Not really. How'd you get him to go? We just went, oh, the Lodi Learning Center.
There's a piece of abstract art on the wall of one room of the apartment that, when clicked on, causes Angela to say, maybe it's ugly, but at least it's not trying to sell me something. A fitting summary of this pretentious piece of trash. Thumbs down and good riddance. Hey everybody, thank you for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. Listen, my channel's going through some really cool evolutions right now, and I want to make you a part of it. Subscribe for future updates, but please also donate to support my channel on patreon.com/JO42. I've set the modest goal of $100 per video, and your contribution will help me continue to bring you really cool content like what you just saw. And of course, there are some links to the side there to help expedite that process. So again, thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you again. Peace.